Hi everybody. Today is my father's 87th birthday, and he likes banana nut bread. So I've got all the things out here. I'm going to get all of this done. I'm going to take it over there with him tonight with another gift. So I've got two bread pans, some parchment, which I make a sling in the pan so that I can just pop the bread right out, And the pans aren't very, it's got a fingerprint. They know I've been here. It's not very deep. It's kind of a shallow, so you can make two easy. I've got some extra ripe bananas in a bowl to smash them in. My recipe calls, and I'll go ahead and spray Pam on the pans even though there's a sling. My recipe calls for 3 eggs, buttermilk, vanilla, flour, all-purpose, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, a little salt. Did I say vanilla? I don't know if I did. Some Crisco and some chopped pecans. And really, it's not a big deal to make. It's pretty quick, but I just never do. I used to all the time. So it says you can use 1.5 cups of bananas, which is about 3, but you can use more, and I probably will. Got my bananas all, peeled and ready in a bowl. And then I switched mixing bowls. I found the bowl I was actually looking for. The other one is really not a mixing bowl. I'm going to use a mixer to mix all of this up. So I'd rather it not be a plastic bowl. I don't know, be beating it up. Bananas are all mashed up. I used all 4 bananas, but I took some pieces out because they weren't worthy. If you make banana nut bread, you do your own thing. I do mine, but when they're real dark on the inside, I won't use them. So there's nothing wrong with them. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with them. It's just the way I am. 2.5 cups of regular granulated sugar. I have 3 eggs here, room temp, just because that's how it happened. And plus, maybe it'll help to cook more evenly if the eggs aren't cold. I'm going to beat them just a little bit so they get started, and then I'm going to add them to this granulated sugar. Now I'm going to chunk up into pieces some butter-flavored Crisco, and it's equal to 1 cup. This one's, I won't be using this, I'm just showing you. And the whole thing goes in here. I don't know what I did there. I must have stuck a knife in it or spoon or something accidentally. So I'm going to add this, it's softened, to this in pieces and then beat that up. We'll see. And there you go. That is just those first, 3 ingredients? It was butter, eggs, and sugar, right? And that's it, I think. So that came to a nice, creamy, fluffy yellow. And now I'm going to add in some other ingredients, like bananas first. In go the bananas, and I'll mix those in just a little. No beating it to death or anything. I don't know how many of you remember or even saw, my old mixer died. It was an old one. It didn't have these rubber attachments here for the bottom of the bowl, and the engine in it, maybe that's why it died, but it had always gone ee when it was on, real loud, and this one's got more of a low tone growl to it. I just love it. And I like the color too. I like gray better than that stark white that I had. I was really blessed to be able to get it. It was, I don't mean I had to take out a loan for a beater. It wasn't greatly expensive. I just mean, there were times in my life when if I needed a mixer, I had to go to the thrift store and find one that worked, And that's the case with people that even can afford it. But this way, I felt special to be able to pick the one I wanted out for the first time. And I'm, 64, so, okay. Now I'm going to put in 1.25 cups of cultured buttermilk. This is, what is that, 1.5 reduced fat? So what the deal is, in my area, there's only one store, regular store that I know of, that sells full-fat buttermilk and full-fat chocolate milk, meaning whole buttermilk and whole chocolate milk. When I do my baking or have chocolate milk out for whatever reason, hot cocoa on a snowy day, whatever, I don't want to use reduced fat. And I know some people won't drink whole milk, just like I wouldn't drink skim milk. Well, I don't like milk at all, so let's just go there first. I don't drink milk. But when I'm baking and when I'm serving, I want it to be rich and the tastiest and, you know, farm style, those kind of things. So anyway, long story short, they didn't have my fat-free, and because I had sent a kid to the store for it, and this is what I'm using. That's all mixed in, and now it takes a teaspoon of vanilla. I make this myself. I have like rotating, started with an R, 3 rotating bottles in my pantry. 2 of them are the smaller, like half size, and when they're ready, I'll dump one in here because it'll be down, and then I'll start another small one. And I just use, I don't even know if Costco still sells, but they used to sell some good vanilla beans, and I use vodka. Some people like bourbon, totally a choice of your own, you know. One day I may try brown sugar, bourbon, and vanilla. It might be good. And that's the last of the wet ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and mix the dry, you know, the baking soda, baking powder, salt, and flour together by themselves in a smaller bowl and add them slowly. So this is 1½ teaspoons of baking soda and 1½ teaspoons of baking powder and a pinch of salt. I put too much salt in there and I had to dig it out. What I was thinking. It says a pinch of salt, Kendra, not a teaspoon. So I'm going to mix it in here with the flour and get a whisk. Yeah, I should have done that before now. Whisked it all up, and I've got pecans from this Diamond of California chopped pecans. I put about half the bag. They sunk. I thought about putting them on the top, but I was afraid they'd burn. You know, so they look pretty on the top, though. You could do that, I guess, later in the baking process if you want. I think I'll put the lid on this before I dump that all over the counter. So I don't know how true it is, if it actually works, but I've always heard that you want to put your nuts in the dry ingredients, because when the flour surrounds the nuts in whatever you're making, it will suspend it so they won't sink to the bottom, rise to the top, do anything sketchy while they're cooking. Let me come back out. Okay, so I did the first 30 seconds or so with the mixer, and now I'm doing the last of it so that I don't make the bread kind of tough. I've heard that'll do if you overmix the flour in there. So maybe some of you know if that's right or wrong. I'm just, you know, I cook by rumor. I heard. All right, it's mixed, and I should have probably done the pans already, but I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and this can just sit by itself for a sec. Okay, I've got it lined with parchment with just a sling over the side. I didn't want to put a lot in there. This part right here is making trouble for me. Let's see if I can do anything about that. I don't want it to get stuck in the bread and pull the bread apart. This might make more than 2. These are more shallow than my typical glass ones, the first time I've used them. So we'll see how much batter this will hold. All right, so they fit just right, and I didn't have enough that I felt like it was a worry, so they'll rise, but maybe not too much. Okay, what I was going to say is I gave them a jiggle like this, and I tapped them both gently 2 or 3 times just to make sure that it was settled into the cracks and that it reduced bubbling, I guess, in the batter, if there is any. So I'm going to pop this in the oven. It's already preheated. 375 degrees for 30 minutes. Then I will take it out, rotate the pans, and I will cover them for the last 30 minutes so that they don't get too brown. Here we go. Here is the banana nut bread, and that's just a piece that fell off the foil that was on top, you know. So it's got a slight indent in the middle, as does this one. I looked that up, more foil burnt. Not the foil burnt, but causing some batter to burn. I looked it up, and they said that if you have an indent like this, you need to check your oven temperature because it might not be high enough. Could be a reason for this. Now, I haven't checked my oven temperature since we bought the house, so maybe I should. I did put it on 375, and I did cook it for even a little longer than it said to. So this is the top. I'll show you the bottom. There's the bottom of that one. I may give it to him on the bottom like that. Make it look better, you know. And now I'll flip this one. Maybe I can do that without putting the camera down. Oopsie daisy. Okay. And the parchment really does do its good job. Knock those pieces of burn from using foil off and they'll be fine. And I'm going to cool completely before I take one of these over to my mom and dad. So there you have it. Let me see if I can get two in the picture. Ta-da! Thanks for watching, everybody. If you've never subscribed, please think about doing it. It's free, it's fun. We'll get to know one another. If you don't want to get to know me, you don't have to, but still, think about subscribing. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow.